Joining us. My name is Steve Scheidt. I'm the Director of Admissions here at the Weatherhead School of Management at Case Western Reserve University. Before we introduce our featured presenter, I'd also like to introduce one of my colleagues, Julie DiBiasio, who is also on the webinar, and we'd be happy to continue to serve as resources for you here in the admissions office as you continue the admissions application process. We're delighted today to have an alum of Weatherhead from 2010, Amit Awati, who is a technology manager at Deloitte. He's going to discuss today his career path, what the state of the technology consulting space looks like through his lens, and particularly characteristics and qualities needed to thrive in this space, and also really tying everything back to the Weatherhead School of Management and how this really served as a catalyst to his professional journey. Without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Amit Awati. Amit, please go ahead.
Perfect. Hey, Steve, can you hear me? All right.
Yes, you're fine.
Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Amit Awati. I'm a manager from the Deloitte technology practice. And a quick background about myself. So I am primarily focused on selling and delivering complex technology transformations, primarily focused on helping CTOs and CIO organizations drive IT efficiency through their IT operations, improving reliability and transparency. Basically helping organizations to support their business growth using technology. A quick overview of my professional summary. So I'm originally from India, and I graduated my engineering from MIT College Pune back in 2005, worked as a Java programmer for 3 years, and soon realized that I'm learning a great deal of technical knowledge, but I'm lacking the business side of things. I didn't understand how decisions were made, how technology and business work together hand in hand. So MBA fit well in my goals, and that's when my journey to Case Western at Weatherhead started. I came and started the program full-time MBA back in 2010, somehow got the internship with IBM, but that was the time when things were really tough. That was one of the peak of the financial crisis when I graduated, and was almost about to pack my bags and go back to India when Deloitte happened. And since then, it's been an adventure. I've been with Deloitte for the last 8 years. I've grown with the firm. I've done a wide variety of projects across different industries for different clients, across the advise, implement, and operate spectrum. Learned a lot, work with a lot of smart people. And slowly but surely, I'm started to build my story in the financial services industry. That's where I've been in the last 4 years or so. And currently, I am the engagement manager here at PayPal, where I'm primarily working on the implementation of ServiceNow platform. So that's my latest project. My journey has been in a way that I've grown with the firm as a consultant, senior consultant, manager back in 2015, and now I'm on the cusp of being a senior manager at Deloitte by end of the year. From a personal perspective, as you see in the picture there, I'm married. I have a 1.5-year-old beautiful daughter. Her name is Arya. I'm a huge soccer fan, love to play sports. I also play an Indian percussion instrument called the tabla. And it's just, I'm a person who values people, relationships. I am currently in India traveling to Bangalore for my work. So when the team reached out to me, I was more than happy to pitch in and share my insights and thoughts. So that's my background in a nutshell. Moving on, so my role at Deloitte. When I joined the firm back in 2010, I was primarily a consultant who was still learning the rules of the road. Someone who had the technical knowledge, who had the hands-on technology experience, but still I had a long way to go when it came to delivering value and understanding how business and technology work. If you think about my role and how I have evolved over the last 8 years, it's that Now I'm selling and delivering technology transformations for banking and payment industry clients across advice, implement, and operate. So essentially what that means is my current role at Deloitte is an expert who is an end-to-end delivery manager, working across gamut of Deloitte services and business models and delivery models. We have a team here in India, 28 people, team on site worth about 10 Deloitte practitioners. And I'm kind of running the show with the help of the clients here to ensure that we identify the opportunities, we define the strategy for this ServiceNow platform, we implement key features, we follow agile methodology to deliver these key features, and eventually we also operate and maintain and keep the lights on, not just with a focus on focus on operations, but also an eye for continuous improvement. Some of the key projects that I worked on were really large-scale technology transformations. I started off in public sector, so de-risking complex initiatives, driving complex projects and getting them back on track is something that I have done over the past, and that's kind of my personal brand. Also understanding the payments and digital banking space. Having worked at PayPal, which is the #1 P2P payments provider, I have learned so much about the industry, the business processes, the key drivers, and what it takes to kind of streamline the cost and improve scalability and performance, that the knowledge of technology and clubbed with the functional understanding of the payments industry is really something that I'm passionate about. And last but not the least is I'm someone who's a reliable, trusted advisors, where clients, senior directors and directors come to me to seek advice, and my recommendations are valued, which is something that I'm really fortunate, grateful that I've received great mentors, and now I'm giving back to some of my counselees and my mentees. And one of the reasons why I'm here is I really want people who are targeting a career in consulting and want to do their MBA to get the guidance and insights and to my experiences, hopefully to be useful. So that's my role in a nutshell. Any questions so far, or is it okay? Am I going too fast or slow? Let me pause for a second and see if you guys have any thoughts.
Feel free, folks, to go ahead and pop your questions into the Q&A section if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, or if you click your little participant thing, you can do a thumbs up.
All right, this I'll keep going.
Yep, charge on.
All right, so technology and business today. So what I have noticed over the last 8 years is the only thing that is constant is change. And technology is being disrupted and is disrupting business in a very significant way. The rise of these innovative solutions and market-leading technologies is really changing the way how businesses are adding value today. For a couple of things come to mind, such as mobile and blockchain, IoT and cloud. So let me quickly elaborate on each of these. Back in 2007, when iPhone was introduced, it truly changed how things were done. Now, a decade after this, everything is based on mobile apps. Our worlds have changed significantly, right from shopping a product on Amazon.com to ordering a ride on Uber or Lyft. I think we have the most powerful devices in our pockets, and it's going to continue to make our lives convenient, right? Companies have identified multiple revenue streams through mobile applications, and that's just going to continue to grow. Second is blockchain. Blockchain is something that has laid the foundation in the financial services industry. It's nothing but a decentralized ledger, but extremely secure, working well with cryptocurrencies, and it would truly disrupt the whole structure of how financial transactions are processed and how general ledger entries are made. And blockchain will not stop only at financial services. The use cases associated with healthcare, associated with supply chain, manufacturing, and even consumer industrial products are gaining momentum over time. Third is IoTs. I think Internet of Things is something that we all are surrounded with in our day-to-day world, right from a Nest thermostat in our house or a smart lock in our houses where we, or even our Alexa, we can, through voice commands or through our tablets and iPhones, we can control how the entire ecosystem around us operates, which is huge. And last is like cloud. Cloud migrations are truly reducing the amount of cost per transactions, data centers, the amount of ownership and burden that companies had to carry when it came to owning the servers and the racks in the data centers. Everything is available in the cloud with superior performance, flex up, flex down capability, and it's just changing how applications and businesses are run. So the first point there is technology is ripe. Industries are ripe for disruptions. The current landscape is being updated significantly. Other key things that come to mind are around microservices architecture and API-driven applications. They all are playing a huge part. Speed to market. Speed to market is everything. I think because of how technology is evolved over time, customers really want their products to be delivered on time. Even companies are striving hard. CIOs and CTOs are creating a conducive environment for their developers and testers to build applications, to deploy applications, which results in additional products and services to help them achieve their objectives. Focusing on improving IT efficiency, this directly impacts the bottom line. Adding new revenue streams and growing the business is one thing, but how can you be more efficient? How can you identify the inefficiencies related to your business processes? How can you have systems that are truly helping you become a more scalable, standardized company? And that's where ServiceNow also plays its part. How are your back office applications and processes performing effectively? Is all about IT efficiency. So that's the number one thing for CTOs in today's technology world, which is about improving efficiency. And now what we have seen is strategy, technology, and operations work together. What that means is the world of DevOps is up and running with implementations using agile methodologies and taking it a step further with continuous integration, continuous exploration, and continuous deployments. Companies are really not only reducing the time to market, but they can define their strategy, reduce their implementation timelines, and just achieve their objectives and continue to operate in a very efficient manner. Some example here that I would like to touch upon is, let's say a multinational beverage corporation spends hundreds of millions of dollars a year on digital marketing. And the CIO says that the marketing organization often turns to IT for ideas. So what are those ideas? How can the CIO come up with applications to kind of address the top 4 points that I described above? Those are some of the real life client stories. If I have to link some of these stories with my career, I think 2 projects come to my mind. One was in the California Department of Public Health, and in near Berkeley, where California state government offers a genetic disease screening program service. It's called GDSP. So all the pregnant women in California, just by collecting their blood samples, you can tell if there are any potential genetic diseases in their babies. So this service is provided for free. But how did we help from a technology perspective? Their accounts receivables were all over the place. Their healthcare revenue cycle management was inefficient, and the CTO of California Department of Public Health wanted us to improve their accounts receivable and deploy a healthcare revenue cycle management product. So we assessed the current state, identified their current business processes, identified the gaps, and then helped them implement the right solution, selected a vendor for them, and then we didn't stop at that, but truly partnered with CDPH to deploy this and implement this system in production. And I was the functional analyst on the ground, working with the vendor, working with our clients to make sure that the system was configured correctly, the integrations were implemented on time, and we had a successful delivery. So one quote, which is kind of a key takeaway of this slide, is that 80% of CEOs and senior executives worldwide rank growth as one of their top 5 strategic priorities. And moreover, the plan to make those strategic investment is in IT. And the digital capabilities are going to drive the growth. So it's huge how much impact technology is causing on today's businesses, and what's the dependency of C-level executives and companies on technology. All right, that brings up the point of technology consulting as a career. So it's one thing that you are curious about technology, but it's totally another thing if to have be and make a successful career in consulting. At Deloitte, and I can speak about my experience here, that our goal is to shape the future of technology. And as a technologist, we'll be developing technical solutions for our clients, delivering results, working in a really fast-paced environment in an industry where you have to stay 2 steps ahead of our clients and deliver value. In the career of consulting, you will be exposed to some of the smartest and the brightest minds in the business. You won't just be a software programmer or an architect who knows one side of the story, but it's across the spectrum of people, process, and technology is where your skills will be tested. So as a functional expert, you will apply your business fundamentals to understand the root cause, understand where the problem lies. Is it the people? Is it a broken process? Or is it a tool or a platform that needs enablement? And overall, you'll work with role models. You will have peers and coaches and mentors to help you develop that leadership skill. And that's what consulting offers. And last, and probably the most critical one, is how can consulting help you realize and maximize your potential? So as a consultant or a senior consultant after your MBA, you'll be at the forefront of the emerging trends. The trends that we discussed earlier around cloud, around mobile, around APIs and integrations, or around some of the IoT, you would be actually staffed on those projects where you'll be working and gaining those skills hands-on. An example that comes to mind here is cloud migration. So last year, I was at PayPal, and after my paternity leave, when I joined back in consulting, there was this opportunity to be the operations readiness lead for a Google Cloud Platform migration program. So basically, PayPal wanted to migrate their entire dev and test infrastructure to the Google Cloud, and they needed someone who could help them define a support model, plan their life after cloud migration, and just work with all the key stakeholders to ensure that people are ready. I had no experience about cloud migration at all, but being a consultant, being a manager, being that technologist who was curious and passionate about technology, I literally had to learn some of the things on the fly. Got staffed on that project, got the opportunities to work with the brightest minds in the business. And we did go live successfully around July timeframe, developed a support model, developed their L1, L2, L3 structure, worked with the Google stakeholders to ensure that life after go live won't be disrupted. And it was a phenomenal learning experience. So the key takeaway that I want to drive home here is technology consulting as a career is definitely one thing that you can pursue if you are really curious, passionate about technology, you really like to thrive in a business environment, and you really want to be the liaison between business and technology in general. Let me pause here and see if you guys have any questions.
For those of you who joined once the webinar started. I'm Steve Scheit, Director of Admissions here. We've been listening to alum Amit Avati. Amit, I had a question I'd like you to address.
Sure.
And then if we get others, but just as a good segue, in a very, very competitive landscape, especially for MBA graduates entering the space, what are some of the things that an MBA student can do to really stand out among very smart other MBA graduates competing for same positions? What are some of the pieces of advice you'd give, maybe even beyond technical expertise, and some of the things that they can really focus on when they're presenting themselves to a prospective employer?
Absolutely. I think that's a perfect segue into the next section that I was going to cover around what do you need to become successful in consulting, and what do you need to become successful if you want to do an MBA. So essentially, the goal here is to have a well-rounded profile where you have diverse set of projects. You need to demonstrate an understanding of technology, and not just through buzzwords, but you should have coherent stories that you can tell. You need to tie your experiences from your jobs or from your internship in the past, or even education, to have a coherent, compelling story that you are a technologist, you are curious about technology, and you understand technology. Understanding of the concepts is one, that's only half the battle won, but how can you apply those concepts in your day-to-day life? I think that also needs to come out from your story there. I would say that the skills needed to be successful in a technology consulting career and an MBA would be really ambitious, really well-versed, well-read about technology, not just technology driven, but also business driven. Understanding what are those key drivers, a quick learner, and someone who challenges status quo is also absolutely critical. Having that technical acumen is great, but do you have the leadership experience to support it? And I think I really want to focus on the leadership experience, where focus on what you have done in the past, what were the opportunities, what was the situation, what was the problem, what was your role, and what were some of the key lessons learned and insight. So every person, I'm sure, when you are applying for MBA, you have X amount of years of experience. Go back in time, see what were those stories, what were the situations, and see how you reacted. And I think as prospective students applying for Weatherhead, see if some of those experiences can align with the skills that are required to be successful in consulting that I'm showing here on the screen. Does that answer your question, Stephen?
Yes, thank you. That was a terrific kind of overview of some of those characteristics and skills that employers really demand in people, and what it takes to thrive and be successful.
Correct. And thank you. And one thing I'd like to highlight here is willingness to travel. Consulting career can be very demanding, although it's a very glamorous lifestyle. You are living in fancy hotels and eating dinners at fancy places and earning points. It is tiring. I also tell people that it is not for everyone. Some people do like to have a stable routine, 8 to 5 type of job where they come back home and sleep on their own bed. But as a consultant, you are really expected to travel the world Monday through Thursday every week, not just to one location, but wherever your project demands. So if you are that type of a person who really values routine, who really values coming back home and cannot make travel work, then think again, because consulting might not be a good fit for you. If you are someone who really wants to hit the ground running, likes that fast-paced challenge, that the way and the opportunities that consulting has to present itself, where you don't have a comfort zone, then consulting would be a great fit for you. Also, a couple of things to highlight here are being a people person. At the end of the day, your clients are humans and you're working with them on a day-to-day basis. They're really smart industry experts who know their business processes in and out. And if you really want to strike a conversation and kind of develop that trust and rapport, recommend something to them, you really need to be a good listener. You really need to understand what their real problem is. You cannot go with an attitude that I'm a consultant and I know everything, but you really need to sometimes learn from them. Sometimes you have to be vulnerable. You have to be honest. You have to do your homework and you have to prep well in advance. So all those things is what we call in consulting world as core consulting skills. It's more of an art than a science, and they are absolutely critical for your success here. So what would make you a successful consultant? Essentially a complete package, a well-rounded profile, and an ability to hit the ground running on day one. All right. Any questions around this topic, guys?
We're not seeing any questions in the Q&A at the moment. So again, just a reminder to those folks that are joining us today, if you have questions, the Q&A box is at the bottom of the Zoom screen. You can click that. And if you have any questions, comments, either about the presentation you're hearing or admissions issues, feel free to pop them in and we'll address them for you.
Excellent. All right. So let's move on. So how does it tie together, and what was my experience at Weatherhead? So first, I just wanted to set the stage by saying that I graduated 8 years ago, and I graduated at a time when job opportunities were few. Financial crisis was a challenge for international practitioners and students. But what were some of the key things that really helped me get a job in Deloitte and a career in consulting? And Weatherhead had to offer a lot of those opportunities. So first and foremost, Weatherhead had probably one of the strong MBA curriculums and excellent professors. My sister lives in Cleveland, and I got phenomenal feedback about Weatherhead from my brother-in-law and the people who were in this area. That's how I got sold on this. And when I did my research, I immediately realized that some of the management concepts that we use on our day-to-day basis, they were invented at Weatherhead. So the quality of professors and the MBA curriculum is absolutely exceptional. It's probably right up there. Second thing is career opportunities. So in spite of us being, our batch being graduating during financial crisis, people who wanted a job had to, of course, struggle and fight for it, but everyone did receive a career opportunity. And a huge credit goes to the career services, who really went above and beyond to help the students, to connect the dots and help them network with the right people, with the right professors, with our alumni. So overall, my experience with the career services was very positive. And Cleveland, although it's not a New York or a Los Angeles, there are pockets and there are companies that really value Weatherhead, and there are so many opportunities out there that if you are willing to try and give it a shot, you definitely get more than one career opportunity. So very, very positive experience there. Strong alumni network. I mean, that's probably my number one in this list, is that when I was looking out for opportunities, I literally downloaded the entire alumni directory and reached out to people. And I found out that as soon as I uttered the word Weatherhead in my email or during my phone call, people were so receptive, and all the alumni were at a solid position in different companies across different industries, that it was easy to connect with them, to understand their journey, to know more about their experiences. And organically, it happened that they referred me to a position, or they knew another person that they connected me to. LinkedIn was not very, very popular. It was just taking off back in the days. So we literally had to depend on calling and identifying people and manually doing this linking activity. But alumni network at Weatherhead is something that you can lean upon, and it's like a strong resource for you. Fourth is just the quality of students and the diversity of students. I remember our class, it was not the biggest class, it was probably around 76 or 78 students in one class. But I can confidently say that we had a very healthy mix of Asians, people from Europe, people from South America, across the continents, and the diversity and the perspectives that they brought to the table was instrumental to our success. I mean, when we had to come up with case studies, when we had to work together on our assignments, I immediately realized that people think very differently based on their background and experience. I'm wired differently because I'm an engineer and I had IT programming experience, but someone who's from a marketing background, or someone who's a Navy Marine, right, or a veteran person, or someone who's an entrepreneur, has a very different perspective. And that's what makes it even more fun, where you can understand those perspectives and come to a solution to solve a problem. So very, very bright and diverse set of students is what we had experienced. And I was absolutely thrilled with my class. And I'm still in touch with some of these practitioners. It's a great network from the batch of 2010 that we have carried forward. And super proud and happy that that Weatherhead worked out. And last was around the personality and culture. I mean, the whole characteristic at Weatherhead is one of the most reputed universities in Midwest. Cleveland is a place which has vibrant, rich culture, and it's probably not, as I said, it's not New York, but it's the second best city in Ohio, in the Midwest region, with so many startups and activities around manufacturing going on. I was fortunate to witness the LeBron James era when I was studying there. We did get beaten by Celtics many times, but it was just a fun place to be. And those 2 years were probably one of the most memorable years of my life. So that it's Cleveland and Weatherhead is a place where you'll definitely enjoy and embrace into the culture of the city. So those were the key things that, as an international student, I thought were important to shape my career in consulting. But there were challenges as the economy was suffering. There were challenges where things didn't go according to plan, as happens in real life. But we had the support and we had the structure in place to help you become successful. Let me pause here and see if you guys have any questions.
I mean, I just want to we'll say first, thank you for that, tying it back to the Weatherhead experience as a true catalyst. But thinking about your MBA experience and thinking about the people who are right now applying to an MBA program and considering Weatherhead, what advice would you give along the lines of maximizing the MBA experience as a student? Of course, students are entrenched in classes, projects, team-based experiences, but how would you say someone could optimize their time as an MBA student? I think you were involved in a couple of different clubs and activities, but talk a little bit more about the student life and really kind of having that well-rounded experience in addition to the classroom experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once you get into Weatherhead, there's a whole new world of opportunities. I was subjected to a bunch of student clubs, and being passionate about consulting, was always close to the consulting club. There are so many events, there are so many opportunities to organize things. One thing comes to mind when I was a student there was the course, which was our business plan course, where we had to work with a company which was in northeastern part of Ohio and help them define a strategy to grow their revenues. It was a real life consulting project that we had undertaken, and the business plan competition kind of encouraged students to work in teams and then deliver a business plan in front of these company executives. So that was one area that I really enjoyed. Other things around student clubs were so many. Like we had an international student clubs where we celebrated festivals and Diwali. Our seniors always supported us. We had a strong pipeline of on-campus jobs. I remember MBA, it can get it's an expensive affair. So having your on-campus job will always help. I was a TA for a professor for a strategy course with Sayan Chatterjee. I'm not sure, but that doesn't. It was 8 years ago, so I'm not sure what exactly my role was there, but it was helping the students and check their papers and helping with the TA responsibilities. That was a critical part of my student life there. And it was just a very fast-paced environment where you had to continuously work in teams with other students. Of course, it's not a walk in the park, but the curriculum was structured in a way that the courses, the professors, the competitions were all came together as one package, and definitely kept me busy for 2 years, and I enjoyed it. Any other questions, concerns, thoughts? Oh, we have got a quiet crowd today.
Quiet group out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll give just a moment in case someone's thinking of something and wanted to type something in. But I do want to take a moment now to let everyone know, because we do have people from around the world who are on the webinar right now, and we know some who might be in India right now. Weatherhead School Management will be in India next week, Tuesday, December 4th in New Delhi for the QS World MBA Tour, and Saturday, December 8th in Bangalore for the QS World MBA Tour. 2 fairs next week. So for anyone who might be in or near those cities, we will have Weatherhead representatives and an alum there at the event. So if you are considering Weatherhead or already have applied, please take this opportunity to stop by on either of those dates to talk personally with Weatherhead representatives. Again, Tuesday, December 4th in New Delhi, Saturday, December 8th in Bangalore. Information is available on the website, but we will certainly send the information and the links with more details to you following the webinar. But we do hope that some of you stop by next week. Well, we don't see any questions coming through right now. I guess, Amit, if you can go back, 2008, before you started the MBA program and the MBA experience, but particularly at Weatherhead, is there anything that you would do differently? Now that you've been out, obviously your career has just continued to catapult. Anything that you would do differently going in as an incoming MBA student?
Yeah, I think when I came into Weatherhead, I didn't have the clarity of thought that I have now. And in 2020 hindsight, it's always easier. But I think I would put some thought into what do you want to be? Do you want to be a career switcher, or do you want to be a career accelerator? And both those things can have very different meanings and different consequences. And planning your MBA and taking courses based on where you want to go and what you want to be is absolutely critical. So let's talk about career switcher. So if you are a career switcher where you are working in certain field and you want to go in a different field, for example, let's say you are in IT, but you want to go in investment banking or marketing, for that matter. So I would consciously think about what courses to take, how to shape your story, how to quickly look for opportunities in your first semester to find an internship, so that you can demonstrate those skills and try to make a career switch once you graduate. And it's a different strategy. That would be a difficult yet possible path. But having that clarity of thought is absolutely critical. If you are a career accelerator, that if you want to be in the same industry, same field after you do your MBA, then I would focus on taking the best courses from the best professors, getting a general management type of an experience where you really know that you are going to be in the same field, but why not accelerate my knowledge by having a well-rounded experience? So that's a different strategy altogether. I would also target the right people, the right companies as soon as I started my MBA, because I think that's huge. First semester kind of goes in understanding the pace and what to do, what not to do. But if you have an eye on the future and if you think 6 months ahead, it kind of makes a huge difference. So that's one thing that I would do differently.
Okay, thank you. Well, this really has been a terrific opportunity to learn about Amit's career trajectory and current role, and really kind of in some ways kind of where it all got started, or at least propelled significantly here at the Weatherhead School of Management. And we always like to connect prospective students with our alumni. And as Amit spoke of earlier, the alumni network here is just an amazing group of people, and the network's footprint expands coast to coast across the US and certainly around the globe, over 20,000 strong. For those of you who are in the application process or who will be starting soon, the next admission round is in mid-January. Again, additional information on the website, and my colleague, Julie DiBiasio, or I would be happy to assist. If anyone following the webinar has anything additional they would like to reconnect about, we'd be happy to do so. But I'd just like to take a moment to express our sincere thanks to Amit for his time, for his insight, and certainly for just the candor in discussing the Weatherhead experience and how it tied so fittingly with just an exceptional journey and career to date. Amit, thank you. Really appreciate your time today. I know you've been traveling recently, and so good to see you and reconnect with alums in any format. Very much appreciated.
No, absolutely. It is a pleasure, and always happy to give it back and help prospective students make the right decision and apply to Weatherhead. Weatherhead has given a lot to me and kind of shaped my career. I'm here because I was able to do my MBA, and always happy to help students who are thinking about it, how to do your MBA, what to do, what not to do. And I hope that my journey would have inspired you guys to help make the right decision, apply to the right schools, and hopefully, this helped. So thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you. And with that, we will conclude the webinar today. Thanks for everyone who joined us, and we appreciate your time as well.
Thanks all. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.